Hi, welcome to Roboflow training movie. In this training movie, I will show you how you quickly can transform folders into categories. So I'm going to start creating a new workflow. Hot folder, create category from folder. And it's going to be a drop folder, a hot folder workflow. And so process newly dropped files in a hot folder. There we go. And I'm going to run it on demand as a test. And my drop folder, I'm going to create a subfolder. Here I have test. So in here, I'll create a new folder and I'll call it drop, just like that. Select. Okay, and now anything that is dropped in here having subfolders I want to create. So when I'm cataloging the file, so first new, I'm going to say a Cumulus catalog, and it's a select catalog dialog that I want with this parameter. So here, okay, and I'm going to put this in the sample catalog. I'm also going to do a root category. So this is where you want to put, this is where you want to start in your category tree. So I'm going to say /$categories. You can put it wherever you like. I'm calling this my root. You could even have more subfolders here. I can say root if you want, and it just doesn't matter how long this path is. And there's lots of other things you can do to make it nice, etc. This is just a workflow to quickly show how this can work. So first we need to open the catalog if we have a new file coming in. So I could select it here, but that's not what I want to do in this case. I want to pick it up. Not that this matters, but it's just so much nicer if you don't have Cumulus elements in your workflow, in your action script. So Cumulus catalog. Okay, that's my catalog. Whenever you open a catalog in a workflow, you always immediately add the close instruction so that you don't forget. Otherwise, you run into resource problems. Catalog. Okay, now I need to catalog the file. Maybe this cataloging process is moving it to the vault or whatever. But important to know is that in a drop folder, either I can ask for the path of this file, of this hot file, and then I can start processing that. Mind you, this path might be a Windows path, which means that every folder is separated by backslashes. So if you want to turn that into a category path, you have to do a replace of a backslash into a slash. Otherwise, you end up with a very strange result in your catalog, having a catalog name with all kinds of backslashes in it. But there is a much easier route. There is an internal variable called hot subfolder, which is present for the hot folder workflow. And so any file that is dropped in there will store its relative path in that variable. So it will have /my subfolder / some other subfolder / or something like that. So what I can do is I'm going to catalog the file. And so Cumulus catalog, I'm going to catalog the file, and in here like this and like that. I can use this. Usually I replace this also by a lookup field for the global parameters, but let's stick to the purpose of this demo. I catalog the file, and now all I need to do is, if I want to recreate and assign that, all I have to do is set a field value. The result of that cataloging process is a record, and of course you could test if it was successful, etc., etc. But that's not the point of this demo movie. The point is that you understand how you can turn folders into categories. So this is one way of doing it, is just to pick up that variable here like that, and to concatenate it with an internal variable. And where is this coming from? You might say, how the hell should I know that this exists? Well, one, it's explained in the manual. Two, if you have a look at the hash, for any type of workflow, it will have the global parameters from the global settings, but it also has local parameters like the hot folder and the hot subfolder. And that's the one we're looking for, which is a special parameter that the workflow offers you, which contains the subpath of it. And if you want to know exactly what it's doing, it's always nice to add some comments to a workflow. So I can just simply add a comment line here where I add the same information. I'm going to say setting category, and then I can pick up that same one. So I'm going to do this, Control C, cancel, Control V. And then we have a little bit of explanation in our workflow. So that's a very basic way of doing it. As I said, you could also use the instruction that store part of file as text, and you could say give me the folder path, but that begins from the very first / network folder, blah blah blah. So then you have to go parsing that. Maybe you just want what is in the subfolder, because that first part is hard-coded and your drop folder is your drop folder. So should you want some parts of that drop folder, you could also specify it here. You could say here $category / let's say Dropbox / test / whatever. So the fixed part is the fixed part. The only thing you're interested in is what comes after it, what's dropped in that folder. So now let's go to that folder and drop something in. So I'm picking up my folder name just to be able to know where to go. Here we go. This is my workflow. Not that I want to be there, but I'm here, test. I have a little test file here, and I have a little drop folder here, and I can just say this, and this is my test file and whatever. Test file. If I do this, it's just going to assign the category to the root category, because there's no subfolders. Let me put a second test file in here. So Control C, Control V, and I'll say call this test file in sub. And no, I don't want to do that. In subfolder like that, and I'm creating here subfolder, so I can say Ghent, lovely town, and I can even have some more. So I'm dropping it in here, and actually I'm going to say, well, actually Ghent is in Belgium, of course, so I'm going to say Belgium, and we're dropping Ghent into there, and that way we have 1, 2, doesn't matter how many files in here. So you can see one in the root and one outside. So if I now run this workflow and if I open my catalog, you will notice that under $categories there is no category called root. So that's the one it's going to create under $categories, and that's where we are, and it's going to add those two files. So if I set up everything correctly, if I run the workflow now, start, it should do the trick. Show log, and there you see it, setting category blah 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 / Belgium / this / that. And so here for the other file it just says root, and there was no subfolders here. So let's have a look in the catalog. Let's go and find our latest two files, and we see here root, double click, there's this file which is assigned to this one, which we can see here, root. So it's assigned to it, and then also this one, and it's assigned to drop because that is the dollar sources. It's a workflow that assigns the dollar sources as well. So if I just say categories, that's the one I assigned, is the root. And if I have a look at the other record, which was the test file in subfolder, that one is in a category called Ghent. And that category, if you want to see where it is, you can just double click it and it just will open it on the left. So you can see here is what it created. I said I wanted to start it from something called root. In my dollar categories, and it's dollar categories that we have here. And so dollar categories, root, Belgium, Ghent. And that's how easy it is. And so that's a little training movie on how to assign a category to a record. And so when the category doesn't exist, it just creates it. And the path for creating it has to be separated by slashes or colons. So also remember that you should tell your customers, if you're using automation like Roboflow, that you should never use any slashes, backslashes, colons, semicolons, or commas in the name of a category. And those are forbidden category name characters, if you don't want to run into any trouble later down the road when you're automating any processes. And so good. So thank you for joining this training movie, and see you in the next one.